Fear kept me from pursuing music as a career for a long time. The biggest thing was probably just accepting that fear was going to be a part of the experience. So I made a decision that if I wasn't doing something and fear was any possible excuse, I just have to do it. I did it scared.
Thank you for choosing this Well Chat. To support future episodes, consider purchasing a Freedom Art Mat or Vegan Leather Journal at freedomatthemat.com. We're a nonprofit dedicated to improving the lives of women globally through wellness education and appreciate your support. Now, on to the conversation. Hi, everybody. It's Olivia F. Scott, and it's time for another edition of Freedom at the Mat's Well Chat to support us all in living truly well lives. So this summer, my ears were mesmerized by a new song. Now, I got to stop and tell you something, girl. I love music like nothing else. I'm a huge music fan. My father was a musician, and I grew up listening, learning how to listen to music and instruments, and I just love music. But what I'm thrilled about is there was this song, and it was so alluring sonically and visually that when asked to pre-save it, when I was going through TikTok, when the song was released, I played it on a perpetual loop for weeks and days on end. And I sought out the songwriter and performer who is here with us today.
Lock in, pray up, head down, cake up.
You just heard it. So today we're going to talk about the value of mindset and manifestation and hear a firsthand story about how the songwriter herself is using music to find healing in her own life and wants to do the same for ours as well. Welcome, Freedom Mats, to the Well Chat, Sahn. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm doing really well. Thank you. I'm really happy to be having this conversation and really grateful that not only that you found the song and enjoy the song, but felt compelled enough to share it with your community as well. That really means a lot to me. As an independent artist, it really means a lot.
So the last time we did this was several years ago with Deborah Bond. It's it's a special one, right? I love what you're doing. I shared it with everybody that I know, all my friends, and everybody's like, right now, immediately, I have to have it. I can't express enough how much I love the song and how the words in your delivery of lock in, prayed up, heads down, cake up, stay with me daily, especially in my career. And it's keeping me focused on the vision for Freedom at the Mat and Emerge Alliances. But I want to start with you, right? I love the meaning of your name, Sahn, which means pure and clarity. Your music maps so wonderfully. Can you share more with us about your background and the inspiration for this song?
Sure. So I grew up in the Bay Area. I'll take you all the way back to the beginning quickly. But I grew up in the Bay Area. I started singing when I was probably 9. I had my first talent show. And I started writing poems. I also wrote my first poem when I was 9. It was about losing my grandfather. And I started writing my own original songs around the age of 12 or 13. I had taken the voice lessons and I took piano lessons for a little while. I was always a musical child. And my mom is a painter. And so she was very motivated to nurture my interest in the arts, in my chosen art form. So all through high school, I sang at the rallies and I sang at at all the school events. And I ended up studying music at Cal Poly Pomona in Southern California.
Okay.
I'm
going to pause.
Intended, sure.
Totally irrelevant, which is shout out to your mom, right?
Shout out to her.
Shout out, because we had an episode a few weeks ago about college prep and the role of mothers and parents in allowing their children to be who they are. And a lot of times, we just kind of put our kids in certain tracks, whether it's, sciences or STEM or whatever. But your mother saw you a musical child. She saw you an autistic child, and she put you on the track. And here we have the world's been blessed because of your mother's work. So I just want to say shout out to mom.
Yeah. Shout out to mom. Thank you, mom. Appreciate you, mom. Cheryl Mitchell. Yeah, so I ended up studying music industry studies at Cal Poly. My intention was to be an A&R rep. And then I wanted to produce events and concerts. I'm still interested in doing that. There'll be some chapter in my life that's dedicated to that. But I was very fearful of putting myself out there as a performer. Very,
Why?
very fearful.
Why?
I just doubted whether or not I was good enough or whether or not I had anything important to say, whether or not what I had to say was something anybody wanted to hear. And I was, I was very young. I was in my early 20s.
Hmm.
I was still figuring out who I was in a big way.
Right.
And that fear kept me from pursuing music as a career for a long time, but I knew I still wanted to be around it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and then I experienced a major life event. I experienced the loss of someone very dear and very close to me. And I think that those moments in anybody's life are a catalyst for change. They can be a catalyst for change. And that's exactly what it was for me. It forced me to ask myself an existential question, which was, when I'm 99 in my rocking chair on the porch,
Oh,
what am I going to wish I had done with my life and with my time? I had a lot of internal conversations about what it meant to die well, and therefore what it meant to live well in order to get to the end of my life and go to God empty
that's it.
and
That's it.
and not that's it, and not be the servant who buried the talents in the sand, but
Mhm.
be able to say, you gave me this and I multiplied it. This is what I did with it. And I could recognize that fear was the thing that was stopping me from doing that. And so I made a decision one year that if I wasn't doing something and fear was any possible excuse, that I was just going to do it. I just have to do it.
For those women who are watching right now and they've got something to offer the world, whether it's
Mm.
music, art, or anything, and they are being held back by fear, can you
Hmm.
tell us more about how you did it? Because you said you kind of checked
Yeah.
and said, listen, if I'm not out there in a year, then whatever. But like, what were the steps you take? Because imposter syndrome is real. So how did you
Yeah.
put one foot in front of the other and like begin recording and putting yourself on stage?
Yeah, I think it was kind of a multi-prong approach,
Okay.
because I think the biggest thing was probably just accepting fear, just accepting that fear was going to be a part of the experience. And that what I was waiting for, what I was telling myself was like, well, if I feel this way about it, then maybe it's not something that I'm supposed to do. But putting yourself out there is a scary thing to do. It's scary. There's always going to be a fear of being judged. There's always going to be a fear of not being accepted. There's always going to be a fear of failure. And I think that because as women, so much is put on our shoulders to carry so many people, that we feel we have to be perfect. And if
Yeah.
we aren't perfect, then there's almost no point in doing it. But then we deprive the world of what we have to give. And, the only way to improve is by doing the thing. You don't gain confidence before you do the hard thing. Doing the hard things is what makes a confident person. Proving to yourself that you can do a hard thing is what gives you that kind of strength of self. So that was a big part of it, was just accepting, I'm going to be scared. I'm going to be scared and I still have to do it because I don't want to live with this regret.
So you did it scared.
I did it scared. I
I
did
love
it
it.
scared.
I want to talk about the confidence piece, right? Because
Hmm.
I did a video several years ago on Freedom at the Mat called Borrowing Confidence. And
Mm.
it's very successful. I was reading from a passage in a book from an author, and I talked about if you don't have the confidence you need to step up, you got to borrow it from some. And I think many people feel like they have to be confident. And I think when I was younger, and even to an extent now, when I see people who appear extemporaneously just to be confident, I'm a little jealous because
Hmm.
I want to do the prep work. I want to actually know that I know that I know before I get on the stage. But to your point, sometimes you don't have all that opportunity. You just have to do it scared.
Hmm.
And I agree with you as well that the confidence comes from you doing it. It doesn't happen the
Hmm.
other way around. You don't get it before. For most of us, you don't get it.
Correct. 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 And if you have the confidence before you do it, and not before you do this particular hard thing, but if you ain't done nothing hard before, I really have to question where your confidence comes from. And because it's one thing, again, back to shout out to my mom.
Hmm.
did everything that she could to instill confidence in myself and my sister when we were kids, and reminding how unique and how special and how gifted and all of that. But she's not, those people are not the only influences that you have on you in your life. You're susceptible to the influence of other people as well.
I believe their job is to give us the best lease on life, to give us the best start on life, and to help us cultivate our gifts and to protect us. I want to talk specifically about you as a performer, Miss Sahn, because when I saw you performing, and I encourage everybody to just check her out, just look up Sahn Locked In. You have several videos on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram. You are just crooning. You are beautiful. You are convincing me that you are a veteran performer. But you shared that you just recently became comfortable with performing live, like literally 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, whatever you want to show, how are you getting on that stage?
No,
How are
I'm
you
happy
doing
to.
this?
My mantra actually came from my late husband, who was the dear one to me that passed away. And he would see me. Oh my goodness, it just felt like my heart was going to fall into my stomach. And I just was so nervous, so anxious. And he would just remind me that I was just here to share. So that's what I tell myself, is that I'm only here to share.
That's it.
I'm not here to perform. I'm not here to inspire anybody. It's not my responsibility to be whatever version of myself, I think people want.
Right.
I am here to share my experience. And if you get something from that, great. But that's not in my hands. That's in God's hands. So that still is my mantra to myself when I feel anxious. I think that when we go to see people perform, we are not looking to connect with them. We're actually looking to connect with ourselves. And seeing them connect with themselves gives us a model for how to do that for ourselves. That's why lyrics hit us the way that they do. They don't have nothing to do with who's singing it. Hopefully that person can also, be a vessel in person and live. And I think that's what I try to do. But I think I have to make it less about performing well for the audience, which is where the fear comes from.
Because that's judgment.
That's where the judgment, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I just have to share. I'm only here to connect. And I have to connect with myself first before I can connect with anybody else.
And we appreciate you for showing up. I'm so grateful that you pushed through whatever to be able to show us. I'm sure it's a harrowing process behind the scenes potentially, but I'm grateful, and maybe it's not, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying I'm grateful that you're doing it, because there's so many people who have gifts, and this, who they're robbing us of their gifts, not showing up. And I remember in like a workshop of some kind, and the question was, who misses out if you don't deliver your business vision? If you don't deliver freedom at the mat, if you just kind of sit there and you don't show up and do your videos, who's missing out? And I was like, it's the I'm serving, right? So that, and also the whole notion around not being performative and almost becoming translucent, and just allowing your vessel to be light coming through it. And shout out to your late husband for giving you that, right? As well. So I want you to tell us about your journey to write your 2 albums. We talked about manifestation. These lyrics are just, they're otherworldly. They're so powerful. I know that there was a process for writing them. I would like for you just to kind of walk us through the journey and what your intention was in writing. I think you have 2 albums, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us the names of them and just kind of tell us the process. And also, what are you wanting the fans and listeners to experience while they're listening to your albums?
Sure. I love that question. Thank you. My first album is called The Mornings. The Mornings, like, the sun rises in the morning, but it is it's a double entendre, because I was going through grief. And that is the premise of that's the premise of the album. That's what it's about. It was my intention with The Mornings to do a few things to show all sides of what I was experiencing, so that it wasn't just overwhelmingly sad, because grief isn't just about the loss of the person. It's about the loss of the future of your life, the version of your life that you would have lived if this person had survived. And it's also about losing the version of yourself that you were before you lost them. So it's all of those things. And I really wanted to rip off the Band-Aid with both of these albums, I think with The Mornings and with The Garden. My base intention is to rip off the Band-Aid and say, come take a look at my wound. Come and see what it looks like. Walk around in here and see what it looks like. So I intend to be as vulnerable as possible while also keeping things relatable. I don't mean keep things surface, but I do recognize that grief can be about anything. Grief can be about the loss of your career. Grief can be because you and your partner just broke up. Grief can be about any kind of lost loved one, whether it be because of a huge fight or because you have lost someone in death. So I wanted it to be understood that number one, we will all lose someone at some point if you haven't yet. If you're not a part of the club yet, it's only a matter of time. It's the one guarantee that we have in life. Yeah. So there will be a space for that. But also, if you're grieving something else, there's still room for you here, and everybody's grief is welcome. And at the same time, I tried really hard to stay true to what my intention was and what my experience is. And I wrote that in LA, mostly in my apartment there or in my producer's home. I worked with my producer's name is Kehan Azadi, and I would go over his home and hang out with him and his partner Manajay, and we would sit on the couch and talk, and then we would go in the studio and we would write. And I wrote The Mornings, which is a poem, and I wrote Wake Up My Love, and I wrote Angels and Demons. Those three I started on my own and took to him in the studio and really felt like we had developed a sound with those three songs, and the rest of the album was built from there. We shot a whole visual album, a music video for every single song on that album. Spent way too much money, but it was a really wonderful experience, and it was really wonderful to be able to put this story, to make this a visual story.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, that meant a lot to me. It's been a couple years since I have released another album, but I started writing this album in the summer of 2024. So I didn't take The Garden. Yes, my second album, The Garden. I started writing in the summer of 2024. So I didn't take too long to get started, but it took a while to really figure out what this album was meant to be about. And I had the garden theme in mind. I have a garden at home. It's my favorite place in the world. Still needs a whole lot of TLC if you ask me, but I always have a creative vision for something. But I love it. And I have learned a lot about growing and development, the development of character, the development of life. And I knew that was going to be a metaphor that I carried maybe 3 albums long. So I started kind of conceptualizing. I had brought a whole band together. We wrote in studio for like 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I ended up using 2 songs from that session. Change Your Life and Same Old Me came out of that experience. And then I kept writing with my producer. Kehan also produced this album. And I want to make sure I'm not talking in a big circle. But it was the garden kind of analogy, and then also mantras, making sure that each of the songs had a mantra to latch onto to get through the growing, healing process. And Lock In was probably the most difficult song to finish. Lock in.
Yeah, lock in.
Pray up.
Right.
Head down.
Head down.
Cake up. Yes, that's it. That's the move. It was definitely the most difficult song on the album. The first verse came out like that. The second verse came out like that. Okay. There was a third verse in the demo version that also came pretty quickly, but it didn't give the song enough range. I wanted it to have more range. I wanted it to feel more climactic. Yeah. And so that third verse, what is now like the kind of rap section of the song,
everything
went through.
When you kind of do the
yeah. Yeah.
Sit down, but you can do it. But yeah,
it went through a few different iterations.
Okay.
I was performing it at the time, and I was trying out different things in shows, and just it didn't quite feel right. There were some chanty versions of it, but it was almost like okay, I'll give you an example. There was at one show, I tried this thing where I like did a call and response thing with the audience. And I was like, I got money, got money, got money. I got money. And it was like, the song's not about money. It's not about money. It might be. It might be your measure of success in whatever space you're in right now might be that check. That might be what this season is for. It might be money.
Right.
But on a whole, it means so much more than just having money. Because what I'm asking God's spirit for is so much deeper than
Right.
money.
Right.
So I didn't want that to be a permanent part of the song. I don't want you to be chanting everything gonna come to me. And then it's just this materialistic. It was very fun.
Yes.
It was fun to do. And it's something I'll still like pop into live shows, but not as a part of the song.
Right. Right.
And there was a thought that came to me at one point, just, in life, where I was appreciating how protected I am. I was thinking to myself, I am so divinely protected. Play with me at your own risk. So that's where the line, only play about me if you want your feelings hurt.
I
You
love
don't
that.
want to, I'm not the one that you want to play with.
Okay.
Because I've got more on my side. I've got more on my side. And that felt powerful. That felt like, repeat this. Repeat this with confidence. Don't hurt
Right.
yourself. If you want
You're
to play
so
about
good.
me, go ahead. But it only if you want your feelings hurt.
Right.
You
I hope
know?
you get that divine protection. We don't have to walk around all the time so hard and so harsh with armor. Like God's got us. We're okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want you to tell me this. So, I'd be curious to know what your lock-in process looks like, right? And I'm going to tell you what I'm asking, right? In
Yeah.
particular, believe we're all struggling with distractions.
Yeah.
And we're getting less done. I believe that social media, getting down to 10-second, 5-second clips, it's basically
Yeah.
reducing our attention span to that of an ant. So I've got all types of things I try to do to try to really focus and create. So I'm
Yeah.
curious for you, would you mind sharing with us, what does your lock-in process look like from mindset to environment?
Sure. Sure. I will say it's hard for me too. It's hard for me too, especially with posting kind of being part of my job, to share the music, to promote the music, to, have it out there. And it's not something that at this point I can just like pass off to somebody else to do.
Yeah. For now.
For
Mhm.
now, I think part of it is just kind of like developing my voice and making sure that I know what I authentically sound like online.
Yep.
And also it's just like, editing takes a lot of time and that costs a lot of money. And I have to pay for I got to pay for other things. So I just, I can't do it all. There's no label behind me at this point.
Right.
So
It's
that's a
coming.
challenge. So when it comes to that specifically, if there is anybody that, has their own business and therefore you have to market, so you have to use social media, I would highly, highly encourage you to batch your content one day a week and schedule them out using the tools that TikTok and Instagram and using the tools that they all have,
Yeah.
so that it goes out and you don't have to be tempted to go online
Got
to
it.
do it. Because it takes up so much time.
Yep. It takes up more time than people really realize. And
It does.
just looking at people who are posting content, it's like they must have systems. Either they have systems in place or
Yeah.
they're work done. Because to do a post, to do a caption, although AI helps out a whole lot with creating caption copies, that kind of thing, takes more time than you would think. Okay, carry on.
It's a lot of time. I mean, editing a 30-second video could take 2 hours.
Correct.
It could take a long time,
Correct.
and that video be getting 187 likes and 2 unfollows. So it's just, it's really hard. And you don't know what's going to take off. So what I do in the content space, what I really had to learn how to do was batch.
Okay.
So I usually will batch, because then Saturday, if I'm going out to dinner or something like that,
Right.
I take every opportunity to make a piece of content, to do something.
Right.
And in that one day, I will get a makeup transition, a get ready with me, a a couple, 2 or 3, just singing at the camera in different spaces. And then on Monday, when I'm not taking meetings, I edit everything and schedule it out for the week. And if I'm on a good day, I can schedule out, 4 or 5 videos in that one day. If I'm on a great day, I can schedule out like 2 weeks at a time, which really helps me then get back to the thing that I actually want to be doing, which is making the actual music. Yeah, which is writing the actual lyrics. My daily lock-in process though, like how I do it, and I'm not perfect. I say this how I do it, but like I be messing up. So take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt. I had to identify where I thrive. I am not a night owl at all. And a lot of music people are late night people. I am not. I am in the bed at 9:30.
Me too.
I'm there. I'm asleep. I need to go to bed. And I probably wake up around like 6:45, 7-ish. My mornings.
We're on the circadian.
Yeah, I'm doing what my body wants me to do. I'm waking up with the sun. Well, not with the sun, but my mornings are the most sacred time of my day. I don't talk to anybody but my mom before 8 a.m.
Okay.
I wake up. I have a quiet morning, and probably not looking at the phone immediately when I wake up is the hardest thing to resist doing. But I try to just replace that with a task. So at least I'm not doing it first. I'm probably still going to do it in the morning, but I'm not doing it the first thing when I wake up. So instead of looking at my phone first, my rule is I'm going to wake up and I'm going to brush my teeth first.
Okay.
That's the first thing that I'm going to do. So it comes before everything else. I'm going to brush my teeth first. And I do that. I go in my garden. I water my garden. I talk to my mom. I exercise. That's part of my morning as well. And, and I take the time that I can. I know that is a luxury. People that have to go punch somebody else's clock, they don't always have that same luxury, but I would encourage trying to make time in your morning, whether you can make 20 minutes or 5 minutes, or maybe not, hopefully not 5, hopefully you can make more than 5, but whether you can make 20 minutes or an hour.
Freedom at the mat, our tagline is for women who need a moment, right? That's our tag. And secondly, one of the things that we had a video previously with a woman, a Ghanaian sister, about rituals, about the need to create rituals, right? And those rituals can be as simple as every morning, I will take my body oil and I will rub it into my body, every crevice of my body. That is a ritual. Or getting up every morning and going to your water bottle, things that nourish you in some way, your skin, whether it's every morning, I pray before the phone, whatever it is, but those rituals, to your point.
Yeah, exactly. And, sometimes locking in is harder, which is why then I think mantras become more important. A couple of mine, and I didn't write these, so I'm not claiming authorship, but stick to the plan, not your mood is a big mantra for me, mostly with exercise and doing administrative stuff. I hate the administrative stuff, but it's a plan. It's a plan. And it's a part of my kind of retraining myself away from instant gratification, the instant gratification that we get from social media and Amazon.
Correct. Something else. It's important for us. I've learned in business over the years to do the hard things first in the morning. What's the hardest thing for your day? Do that first. And then everything else is easy and fun, but you do the hard thing first. Yeah. A couple more questions. I need to go back to the creative process, right? So how do you know, because you're writing very intentionally and very clear. You have mantras, you have intentions in your music. How do you know when a song has done its job emotionally or spiritually for you? Is it just like, that's it?
It's different. I mean, sometimes I cry. Sometimes it's crying. Like same old me, I was like bawling. I was like writing it on the treadmill, and because I write well in motion. I write a lot in the car, and I noticed one day I just tried. I was like, I'm just gonna go put some instrumentals on and go in the gym, and because I was trying to multitask, back on that monotasking piece of the conversation. Because if I feel like I'm not being productive and I think I'm absolutely worthless, then what did I do today? Why am I here if I'm not being productive? So I'm constantly trying to stay healthy and keep moving. And so I was on the treadmill trying to write, and I wrote, and I was like, oh, this feels natural. This feels good. And my brain is just going, and I'm sweating, and you know, and I started crying. I started crying really, really hard because I think I just had this realization that I was so frustrated with myself for being in this cyclical,
Mm-hmm.
pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's tears. There was another song when I wrote Green Tea, that's on the mornings. That was also a really big teary one about like kind of giving thanks for how this person had changed me. And for others, I would say for Safe House, which is on the garden, and for Safe House, not quite for Lock In. For Safe House, I think it was just the writing. I think it was just the being that honest
Yeah.
about how fear had stopped me.
Mm.
That's what Safe House is about. And for Lock In, I have sung that to myself in recent days as my own reminder. So I don't know that that one's done doing its work on me.
Right.
I don't know that it's done.
That's like
Um,
a theme song for me. It really has propelled me forward. I want you to know it has propelled me forward. There were times when, things are shifting and swirling around me, but I'm like, no, locked in, cake up, head down. And I
yeah.
was like, or
Yeah. Yeah,
prayed
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Let's just like, we have work to do.
We do.
Right? And I
We
gotta
do.
connect with my God. I gotta pray up. I
You
gotta get
do.
my head. I gotta lot. It's like all of that is like, this is what I have to do with myself. And I also
Yeah.
want to thank you. I want to go back to something you said earlier, and I meant to comment, but we went on in the conversation. But you talk about the intentions and the mantras that you're infusing into your music. But I also want to thank you. I want to thank you not only for what you're doing, but also when you talk about The Morning being an album that was about your grieving process and the fact that so many people grieve so many different things. I thank you for helping to normalize grief
Hmm.
because I think the more people who do it, the more we'll be okay with that. Because I recently experienced something, it wasn't a person passing, it was something more business oriented. And I had to really honor the fact that I was grieving,
You
that
were mourning. Yeah.
that's what was happening. And I was stifled by it and I was struggling with it. Like, Olivia, you're grieving the loss
Yeah.
of that. And
Yeah.
so thank you for giving us permission and for much into which I'm sure was not easy for you to do. So, what is
Definitely.
who are your inspirations and what is your vision for your singing career? Now that you're out here, we're not going to
Mm.
let you go back. So, I want to know who inspires you. Like, is it
I
Steve?
won't go back. I won't go back.
Can't go back.
Singing inspirations.
Yes.
Man, Layla Hathaway,
Okay.
Jasmine Sullivan. Man. I'm not gonna stay in any kind of chronological anything.
Okay.
I grew up on Sam Cooke, so I think that his voice is one that has always spoken to me, and his songs are always songs that when I want to sing something, I know so many of them. They're usually the ones that I sing, and there's just such a cry to his voice that I think is so beautiful. Lyrically, Erykah Badu is a huge influence. Her lyrically, and then I think just like the arc of her career is very inspiring to me as well. And just how she has managed to remain who she is,
Hmm.
be big and crazy and funky and wild and everybody don't understand it. Sometimes it bites her in the butt, but it's who she is. That's
Exactly.
a really, really courageous way to go about your career in a public facing career.
Correct.
So I really admire her a lot.
Hmm.
And I think also it's still in the space of lyrics is like the whole Jill Scott Floetry era, those two groups. Well, Jill by herself and Floetry as
Right.
a duo, bringing poetry into music, bringing poetry that wasn't rap, that was poetry into R&B music is also, I also look to them a lot. And what do I want for my career?
Yeah. What's your vision for your singing career?
Man,
Just career. Maybe not saying maybe it's acting, maybe it's, writing, producing shows and, being a global sensation. Like, what is your vision?
Yeah, I mean, I am still pretty bad at like goal setting for my music. My goal is to make it and do the best that I can to promote it, run after the bus.
Yep.
But also I have to balance that with it's not my job. It's my job to make the thing. It is God's job to get it to the people it's supposed to get to. That's not my job. And I don't want to get lost in the sauce, of promoting and a million streams and I don't want to get lost in that. I don't want that to be my business.
Good.
So
Because
I'm putting my best foot forward in that, and I am performing and making the connections, but that's more about connecting with people and less about, being a big star. It would be super cool if, and there are people in other countries that are listening to my music, which is really, really cool that, and especially that, the analytics will show you where people are listening from. People are listening in, I got a lot of fans in South Africa. I have a lot of fans in Lagos.
what?
I have fans in like El Salvador, which is like it's crazy to me. I'm like, how did you find me? And I'm happy with that. I think that I see my life in chapters, and I think there's a chapter of music making and music performing. I think
Yeah.
there's a chapter of educating. I
Yeah.
think there's a chapter of producing shows. I still want to do that. And some, I see myself owning some kind of performance venue, and booking performers that I love,
Okay.
that I want to see do more, and creating space for them, because it's hard to be a performer right now.
Yeah.
And then I think that there's a chapter of my life that's about philanthropy, and I think that might be the education part too. Yeah, so I'm kind of seeing it like that, but I don't really have big grand, I want to sell out Madison Square Garden kind of ideas. I think I want to just make it music that means something to me and that heals, and trust that the people that are supposed to get it will get it.
And that's what you're
And I'm just going to ride the wave, I don't see the whole staircase, just the next step. And I can appreciate that.
building it as we go. And I
Yeah.
asked because, I see a lot for your future, and I was curious where you were going with it, but I do love that you are doing it with intention. And I love that you also live your life in chapters. One of my best friends and I talked about that recently. Like, can we just live our life in like 2 year or 5 year chunks versus
Yeah.
about in
Yeah.
10 year and 20 year?
Yeah.
Like,
It's too much.
younger people used to be like, oh, what do you see yourself doing in 10 years? We're like,
I have no idea.
I don't
I
know.
have no idea. I don't know. It's too long.
It's too long. So the
How would I
chapters,
know? How would I know?
right. So many factors. So as we close, right, as you said, it's hard for performers right now. I know it's hard in general for music creators because I very well know my father's a musician and, I understand like they're paying like half a cent on streaming, right? So
Mm-hmm.
how can what can Freedom at the Mat's community do that's going to support you the best? How can we support you the most?
Mm. Oh, thank you for that. Um, you know, I think that independently, I can only promote my music so much. So I think the biggest ask is like, if something moves you, please share it. Please share it. Please share it. And it's bigger than just engaging with content, right? It's not just like share and subscribe. It's really not that. It's that you can help me in my goal. My goal is to heal. I have it in my TikTok bio. It's like healing the world one song at a time.
Yeah.
The healing work is so important. It's so hard. And so many of us don't have language for it. We don't know how to talk about what we're feeling. And that's what I hope my music does. That's what I believe my gift is to put language to what this feels like. And you can help me accomplish my goal and my purpose by sharing that message so that the next person can get the vocabulary, for what it means to heal for them.
Well, Sahn, I want to thank you so much for spending time with us today on this well chat. I know that I have been healing, I have been growing, and I have been locking in and much more focused since coming into discovery of your music. So I ask every Freedom at I'm going to put the music down below. I'll put the description in the description, this video links, as well as her Instagram and TikTok account. Please, with no hesitation, please support Sahn's music. It is transformative. I promise you it will transform your life. May God continue to bless each and every one of you. And I ask you to please also, my invitation today is that you honor your feelings, honor your grief, honor whatever stage in life you're in, and do it scared. That's the one thing that I really gained today. This beautiful woman has been she was keeping her gift from us, but she pushed through it, knowing that when she gets to the end of her chapter, she wants to be empty. And I know there's so many of us that have so many dreams and aspirations. And we're simply here to do it scared, honor yourself, honor your grief, move beyond it, and God continue to bless each and every one. Gosh.
Thank you so much.
Thank you!
Not perfect, but I'm not done. I'm on the healing journey with each day of the rising